What's good, NBA family? Today's Saturday, November 2nd, week 2 of the NBA. As always, I'm your host, John. Very happy to be here, man. And we got two familiar faces in the building today, man. If you on YouTube, you already know what's going on. But for my podcast folks, let me get y'all up on game, man, because we got two familiar faces. We got the Triple J's back together. We got the band back together, man. Feel like Jodeci when they did that that return tour.
Man,
But
when Jodeci did that return, that was tough.
that was tough, right? That was tough. But except we're gonna do better than what Jodeci did. We got my dog Junior in the building and Jay Hill. Junior, what's up, bro? How you doing?
Man, I'm good, brother. I'm excited to be here. Excited to be here talking hoops with y'all. It's been a long time in the offseason that we were without hoops, So now that we're back in it and just things getting going again here. It's just an exciting time, and I'm excited to be here with y'all to talk about this.
Yes, sir. Jay Hill, what's up, brother? Doubling back 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Happy to be here as well. And the fact that we got almost a 2-week sample size of the league is incredible. We got a lot to talk about. Separating the contenders from the pretenders. It already feels like. So yeah, let's go.
Facts, man. Facts. Jay said it, man. We got a lot to get into. Don't want to waste any more time. Everybody out there, please like, comment, subscribe. Come check us out on all our social medias. All linked in the description down below. But let's go ahead and get into it. As always, we'd like to start off these recap episodes with some news around the league. And I want to talk about the first 50-point game of the season, y'all, on October 28th. Paolo Banchero put up 50 points, 13 rebounds, 9 assists on 68% from the field against the Indiana Pacers. And what I like most of this game was the fact that he did all this and got the dub. And when you look into into this game, he went off first quarter, had 19 points, went off in the second quarter, had 18 points. But the third quarter, he missed every single shot. He went 0 of 6 from the field and 0 of 3 from the three-point line. But if you go back and watch that game, watch how Paolo does other things to affect the game. Like I said, he finished the game with 13 rebounds, 9 assists. So even when the scoring wasn't there, he was doing other things to affect the game. But I just wanted to first start this open with you guys, man. Jay, I want to get your thoughts on it. 50 burger of the season. How you're feeling? I don't know if you got a chance to watch this game or not, but talk to me, Jay.
Yeah, definitely got a chance to watch this, and I have to start by saying, can't we have anything nice? That's a little foreshadowing about what happened later in the week to Paulo, but we won't get into that now. But I'm sure for some of those listening, you may already know, and I know Junior and John both know. But in terms of this game, you spoke to it too, Jay. Like, we're seeing the full development of Paulo. Like, it's not all about scoring. We're seeing the develop his whole game, which I love to see. But yeah, right from the jump ball, you could see he was an attack mindset. I know he struggled the game before, and he was struggling. He didn't even get up that many shots, but I could see he was making a concerted effort to get to the cup in the beginning of the game. I was being aggressive that way. And I think it really opened up the rest of his floor game. And I think he started out, it was like either 7 for 7 or 8 for 8. So he was really getting to his spots. And that's the continued development we've seen from Paulo, is really not settling as much. Now he's really knows where to get, similar to Melo, but just obviously a little more athletically to give. But really loved what I saw from him struggling to start the third quarter, got in a little bit of foul trouble as well, was able to play through that. And just an incredible performance for Paulo. And I don't know, Junior, if you got something to add on it or any thoughts on it. But
that's exactly what I was going to say too. It's just the ability that he has in just creating a shot, getting to the cup. I mean, you saw he got to the line a lot this game. And that's a result of him just, being aggressive, not settling for shots, going to the cup, going to go really make a basket and take advantage of his physicality, because he's a player with a lot of physical gifts. And him getting to the cup and, putting up a 50 burger, the first 50 burger of the game. And then you look at the next game, he dropped 31 against the Bulls, right? So, he's just continuing that positive momentum and just kind of helping propel the Magic to that next level. And we'll touch on that a little bit more. But about Paulo, he's a fantastic player. We're really seeing that.
Jay, talk about it, Jay. Talk about it. You seen that 31-point game live and direct.
Yeah. No, Junior brought me to it. But in terms of we'll talk about it a little bit too. And so I went to the Bulls game, got a chance. My first Bulls game in Chicago, got a chance to go with my boy Tony. And one of the things we were saying, even in the warmups, I was like, look how big Paulo is, just from the standpoint of like he looks like a man amongst boys on the NBA court. Like he was probably at least like he's a true 6'11", 6'10", but just built like a linebacker, man. So that was one thing. But then early on in that game, seeing him live, truly from a physical standpoint and how he's just able to move guys around, and then he has the touch to add to it. Seeing that live was something incredible. They didn't come away with the dub, and unfortunately, as we found out later, he played the whole game, but that was the last game he's going to play in 4 to 6 weeks, Jay.
4 to 6 weeks is a reevaluation, right?
That's to reevaluation. And I got him on my fantasy team, so it's a double-edged sword there. It hurts. It hurts in a couple ways, but yeah, and it hurts as an NBA fan. I think basketball fan just not being able to see Paulo. But in terms of live performance, one of the best players I've seen live in terms of especially young talent. So it was really good to see.
Yes, Jay. And yeah, you talked about it, bro. In that 31-point game, he freaking tore his right oblique. I think oblique is that a shoulder or is that an elbow? What's an oblique? I don't even know what that is. I'm gonna be honest, but shit, you don't want to tear nothing in your body. I know that. So
yeah, I think it's his ab. I think it's ab. No. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know. I'm gonna be honest, but I'm gonna figure it out throughout this episode. But regardless, Paulo is gonna be out for the next 4 to 6 weeks, and this is a huge loss for the Magic. Really a couple of reasons. The first being that for young teams, like getting a good start is so key, so that when you get later in the season, when you go through these, rookie walls, or you go through the point in the season where vets understand, when to turn it on, these young guys may not. So getting a good start is so key. Also, I mean, Paulo leads the Magic in usage rate. He leads them in the usage rate of 31%. So like that, and essentially for all my folks out there that don't know how usage rate works, it's when you're on the court, if you're scoring the ball, if you're assisting the ball, or if you're turning over the ball, like they take that into account, and that's how they come up with your usage rate. So he basically is the most useful person on this team. Makes sense because he's probably the best player on this team. But now, I mean, the only good thing I could say for the Magic is that they have a deep backcourt. They have Jalen Suggs, Cole Anthony Black, KCP. So they'll have opportunities for players to step up, but it's gonna hurt to lose your best player, though.
Honestly, I agree that they're gonna have opportunity for players to step up, and you named some great names, but I think it's just Franz Wagner's time to step up. Like I think now, look, not only did you say that it hurts the Magic because they got off to a winning start, but it hurts the momentum. They're really now trying to take that leap into that. I think the Magic, they're a little bit like like what we saw from the Thunder a couple years ago, and they were just slowly kind of building that young roster to take that next step. Like the Thunder have now taken the next step, and I think the Magic are right at the doorstep there to take that next step into the elite of the East. And this is gonna hurt all their momentum. They made some good moves in the offseason, like bringing in KCP to be that veteran presence in the locker room. But they also count on having Banchero available for the whole season. It's nothing is a given in this league, but statistically speaking, usually you expect your younger guys there to be out there a little bit longer. And I mean, not to say any of this is Paulo's fault. Just make that clear too. But their game plan was obviously centered around Paulo Banchero, and now they're going to have to shift that at least until the new year, right? It's 4 to 6 weeks for him to get reevaluated, and then who knows how much longer from there. So, at least until the new year, it's going to be no Banchero, and I think it's going to be Franz Wagner's time to step up, and the rest of the team, like you mentioned, John.
Jay, you have any thoughts on this Paulo injury?
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. It's such a momentum killer. They were really, really one of those teams who was on the forefront of making their run this year. To lose your leader, best scorer, and the focal point of your offense is huge. But yeah, it's time for young guys to step up. There's going to be a more scoring load put on Jalen Suggs. I know his main calling card is defense. He can definitely score the ball. We've seen his offensive game continue to develop. Junior, you mentioned obviously a lot's going to fall. The usage is going to fall on Franz Wagner. He's got to step up. And then they're going to rely on those exterior young guys. Anthony Black, I got a name for you guys, and folks may not even know who this is because I didn't know until last game, the Magic's last game, and that's Tristan da Silva, rookie out of Colorado. Actually, for Junior and for Jay, my Brazilian folks, he's Brazilian as well. But he's got some skill, he's got some talent, and he's a backcourt guy who I think is going to see some minutes, especially with Paulo out here. So that's a name to watch, Tristan da Silva. And then Wendell Carter Jr., those guys, everyone. It's going to take a team effort to fill in a gap. It's not all going to come from one guy. So very unfortunate, but that's the name of the game. Injuries happen.
That's fact. And shout out Tristan, because I actually met him in Vegas at the Bellagio when I was at Summer League. And the only reason why I met him is because little snippet, but me and Junior, we speak Portuguese, and I was the only person hollering at him in Portuguese, and he turned around and then I talked to him. Same exact way I got a picture with Leandro Barbosa, as a matter of fact.
Yes, sir. Represent for the culture.
Represent for Brazil, man. But anyway, guys, let's keep it pushing here, and let's get to our first segment of the show here, and that is the buy or sell segment. For anybody out there listening at home, would love for you guys to play along with us. Simply buy or sell. I have 5 statements here, and you let me know if you're buying or selling, right? And we got the presidential election right around the corner. Stock markets is going up and down. So let's talk about buy or sells, man. But let me go ahead and get into my first buy or sell statement. So guys, look, man, the Cleveland Cavaliers have been rocking and rolling. They're on a 6-0 win streak, playing great on both ends. But my question to you guys is buy or sell. Are the Cleveland Cavaliers the real deal?
At this point, I would say no. I need more of a sample size. Yes, they are undefeated. They haven't, in terms of who they played, I would say the Lakers. And then I have to pull up the rest of the schedule. But in terms of that, Lakers, Knicks, those are the 2 teams that I would say are any teams worth mentioning. And the teams, I mean, you mentioned they played the Wizards, some other bottom feeder type East teams, and teams that I don't really see as true contenders yet. So definitely need to see a bigger sample size. But I am liking what I'm seeing from their 4. Right now, it looks like they could potentially have 4 All-Stars, which is good. Evan Mobley's continuing to develop. But we need a bigger sample size before I'm really ready to crown them or say that they're doing anything of note and worth really buying into them. So I'm not there yet.
I'm gonna say to answer your question exactly as you asked, John. Yes, I think they are the biggest threat to the Celtics, but the gap between the Celtics and the next team is a big gap. But I think, look, the Cavs, like Jay Hill said, they got 4 potential All-Stars this year. I think we keep seeing, Donovan Mitchell ball. Evan Mobley just every year seems to kind of take that next step and get better and better and better. Same with Jared Allen. I feel like Garland is up and down, so it's a little too early to see, kind of where he's going to land there for me. But I think a thing that really hurt the Cavs last year was Jared Allen's injury. So it's a fine balance between seeing how they can stay healthy. Obviously, it's too early to say they're gonna how far they're gonna push this undefeated streak. But I do think, yes, they're the biggest threat to the Celtics. There just unfortunately is not a contender that can go toe to toe with the Celtics in the East, and honestly, even in the NBA, it's tough, but definitely in the East.
Okay. So essentially, both of you guys are selling. You guys are not buying that the Cavaliers are the real deal. Do I have it understood correctly?
Yeah, I'm buying that they're not beating the Celtics. I'm buying that.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I actually am buying that the Cavaliers are the real deal. I do think that they are title contenders. And here's why. Yeah. So, I'm going to be honest. I was a big believer in the Cavs in 2021, 2022, when Darius Garland was an all-star. And then they went to the playoffs and got absolutely embarrassed by the Knicks. And the following season, they didn't respond well at all. I think Darius Garland got worse after they got embarrassed by the Knicks the following season. The team looked like they were just in shambles. They were asking Donovan Mitchell to do everything. And I lost hope in them because I was like, all right, well, the way I judge teams is how do you respond when you get punched in the face? And they got punched in the face and they had a terrible response. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I was wrong. But you know what, y'all? This season, they have prove me wrong. And they have really, really impressed me. And here's why. I mean, they got a new coach in Kenny Atkinson, right? So it's a new voice in the locker room. So he's clearly got the guys inspired. You go watch the Cleveland Cavaliers game. They are giving it all on both ends, defensive end and offensive end. He's really got Evan Mobley more involved in the offense. And therefore, like Evan Mobley just being a lot more aggressive. Last year, Evan Mobley averaged 2 drives per game. I know this is a small sample size. It's only 2 weeks, but in these 2 weeks, he's averaging 9 drives per game. And I think that's very intentional. Kenny Atkinson is getting plays drawn up for him, getting him involved in the offense early. And it's not just him, right? It's not just Evan Mobley that's being aggressive. The entire Cavs team leads the NBA in points per drive. And I do think that it's extremely smart of Kenny Atkinson to get Evan Mobley going early because Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, they're natural scorers. They kind of remind me of high school Jay Hill, just a bucky getter, right? And they're natural, so they're gonna come up on their buckets no matter what. Evan Mobley, I don't really think so. He has to have plays initiated for him to get him going. So and then you get the offense going early with Evan Mobley, and regardless, you're gonna get Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland going later in the game. Now you got all three rolling and clicking on all 3 cylinders. It's amazing. And let me remind everybody that they are showing everyone that the Twin Towers lineup still work. Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, they get so much hate all over the NBA saying it doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work anymore. But when Evan Mobley and Jared Allen are on the court at the same time, they have a plus 13.5 net rating. And for my folks out there who don't know what net rating is, basically when Jared Allen and Evan Mobley are on the court at the same time, they're scoring 13.5 more points than the other team for every 100 possessions. So essentially, they're extremely effective out there. And last thing I'll say for the Cavs is they are beating teams by a ridiculous margin. Granted, they've been playing bottom barrel teams, but the NBA, you could lose to anybody every night.
Yeah,
so
popping
teams is very impressive, man. So I think the Cavs are they have a chance. I don't have anyone beating the Celtics right now, but they do think they have a legit chance.
That's kind of how I'm feeling. Like it's just they're the biggest threat to the Celtics. It's just the Celtics unfortunately have too big a gap at the top. But another team to watch for is the Knicks too. I'm really curious to see how they're gelling together with Anthony Towns. I mean, he already had a big game, that 44-point game that he had earlier this season. I want to see how they're going to gel up there in New York.
Okay, Jay.
So to that, I haven't really seen enough from Cleveland to say that, but John, you brought up some great points to why there could be potential. I mean, just from a size standpoint, Cleveland creates a lot of matchup issues for the Celtics. So that alone could make it a long series if they were to meet later on, assuming they're both healthy and can get to that point, and they're both the 1 and 2 seeds. So, yeah,
absolutely. And I think that I haven't even got to talking about Karis LeVert off the bench, Isaac Okoro off the bench. These players that provide some key minutes, man. So hey, I'm hopeful on the Cavs this year, man. I'm hopeful on the Cavs. But let's keep it pushing here, y'all. Let's get to our next buy or sell. Buy or sell. Is the Denver Nuggets championship window truly closed?
As of right now, their roster currently constructed, I will say yes. I'm buying that their window is closed. I don't see a true number two to Jokic. I mean, Murray obviously just got a concussion yesterday. He's looked like a shell of himself, honestly, since the championship run in 2023, because you look at last year, he struggled with some injuries. He wasn't producing at the same level that he had been. Even in the Olympics, we saw him struggle with Team Canada. He wasn't really contributing much to their run throughout the Olympics. So it's been a shell of Murray, and then losing a guy, as you guys know, like KCP is a humongous loss, and they felt that both defensively and offensively. Christian Brown is nice, but he's a nice young project, but he's nowhere near a polished veteran, reliable veteran that KCP was. And then they're relying on other young guys. Julian Strother, he's all right. Peyton Watson, he's all right. They're no KCP, so they need someone to fill in. And then I think it's just the Jokic show, and relying on, yes, he's a 2-3-time MVP now, but it's a lot to ask of him night in, night out. And he's a big dude. He can get a lot of wear and tear on him, but it's a lot night to night just to ask him to do everything. It feels like, and then you're relying on Aaron Gordon as your second option now that Murray's out. So I think they knew to bring in a true number two. Giannis ? I don't know. The Bucks are struggling. I don't know. But I mean, we'll get into it. Probably talk about the Bucks too. I have a feeling, but because that's another team who's struggling. But there's going to be a lot of teams asking about Giannis, and Denver should be in that conversation. But I don't know. I don't want. Are we there yet?
Things are going to be asking. I don't know if we're there yet, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, but those are
not. But
yeah.
I think with the Nuggets, I'm selling. I don't think the championship window's closed just yet. And I'll say I agree. I think losing a player like KCP is a huge blow. Adding Dario Saric and Russell Westbrook is not going to cover that gap. But I agree that also Jamal Murray hasn't looked like his championship self. But just wait until he plays the Lakers. These players, the Nuggets, they just need to play the Lakers, and they somehow all kick it to gear. Michael Porter Jr. becomes Michael Jordan Jr. So that's the difficulty. But no, that's beside the point. I don't think the championship window's closed yet for just two words: Nikola Jokic. And look, until he shows me that he's no longer an MVP candidate, I don't have a reason to not believe him. He's still fifth in the league in scoring. He's third in the league in assists. And I mean, he's a workhorse. You remember when the Nuggets were still coming up? There was that double OT game. At that game, that man played 48 hours of game time, right? He had 56 minutes or something. So it's just, it's just. I don't have I don't count out the Nuggets just yet. I think Michael Porter Jr. he's proven that he can be a good player. Aaron Gordon chooses kind of when to show up, but when he does, that's a solid production. That they get from him as well. And Jamal Murray, I mean, I think there's a reason he was heralded as one of the better players in the league. And even though he's off to a rocky start, and now with being in concussion protocol, I think it's too soon to count him out. Because they're a champion, I gave them the benefit of the doubt. I say, you got to show me that you're no longer, worthy of running with the top. Now, that being said, the league has gotten better too. The West has gotten better. Teams that were on the come up when they were winning their titles are now here. Thinking about the Wolves, thinking about the Thunder, thinking about, I'm curious to see how the Grizzlies are even going to look this season. Right. So I think that the rest of the league is shorten that gap that used to be to the Nuggets, but I don't think they've shortened it to the point where the Nuggets are out of contention. I think it just takes a couple of pieces going their way, a couple of maybe a couple of injuries going their way, and staying healthy, of course, and they could be right back in the Western Conference Finals. Then it's about winning 4 games. So I don't count them out just yet.
Man, I'm buying. This window has been closed after Bruce Brown left. And I've been saying this, y'all. I've been saying this. The second that Bruce Brown left, the window closed. And I told everyone, I said, watch, Christian Braun is not going to be able to replace Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown, during that championship run, did everything for them. I saw him play backup point guard for Jamal Murray, but I also saw him play backup big minutes and guard some bigs on the low post. I saw him initiate the offense and be and bring the ball up court, but I also saw him be a spot up catch and shoot shooter. This man did everything for the Nuggets. And guess what? When he was on the Nets, I believe it was on the Nets prior to that, he was doing everything for the Nets too. He has been the ultimate freaking role player. And I said that. I said, yo, the empire is going to fall as soon as Bruce Brown leaves because Christian Braun is not going to be able to fill those the shoes of Bruce Brown. You know what everybody told me? I work at Zoom. The Zoom headquarters is in Colorado. So I work with a lot of Denver fans. All my friends that I work with, they were like, oh, Christian Braun's gonna step out. I'm like, you can't ask Christian Braun to do a Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown was the freaking best role player in the league during the Nuggets championship run. Now you're asking Bruce Brown, who just came off his rookie year, to do that. Unrealistic ask. But what happened? The year went on. They didn't win a championship, as we know. And then now this year they lose KCP. So now they have lost their best role player on this team, maybe the best role player in the league. And then they lose KCP. And now they're trying to tell me that Braun and Julian Strawther and freaking Westbrook and Dario Saric is going to make up for that. Come on, man. I'm not buying it one bit. The empire has fell when Bruce Brown left. And I hope that teams really take this as a lesson and give value more to Bruce Brown and give value more to players like that, because I think that happens so much in the league, man. You go and you win a championship and then you undervalue your role players and you say, oh man, maybe run it back because I don't want to pay this guy. But that's the thing, man. When you win a championship, that's one of the cons. You're going to have to pay your guys that probably aren't worth as much money as you think they're worth. But guess what? If you got the secret sauce, keep it going, man. And they didn't keep it going. And that's exactly why the empire fell. And that's exactly why the Celtics empire did not fall. I guarantee some of those young players that they brought back everyone for this last season. You know why? Because they figured it out what works. And even some of these young players, even freaking players at the end of the bench like Xavier Tillman, they got paid. And they probably got a little bit overpaid, but they won a championship. So why would you mess with the sauce? That's why the Celtics are probably going to double back.
Look what happened with the Lakers. They blew that roster up after winning.
Oh, that was
yeah. It's no, I hear you. I think a good role player can make all the difference. And we'll even probably touch on this one a little bit more. So we could even leave a pin there. A good role player makes a lot of difference. But yeah, I mean, I think even after losing Bruce Brown, it's that combination of Bruce Brown and KCP. And since then too, we talked about the Raptors, not being so favorable. And Bruce Brown is on there now. He's going to get opportunity to also get more minutes there. I know he's injured at the moment, but he's going to get opportunity to get more minutes there and maybe make that transition to, because I know you were talking about one of the best role players in the league, and I know, John, you've given a lot of praise to Mikal Bridges as that type of player. So you have somebody like Bruce Brown also getting to develop and, maybe make that step into that, maybe he makes that next step into the next echelon of players.
Yeah, I honestly think, I really do think that Bruce Brown's talent is being wasted in Toronto. I think he's the type of guy that you put him on a team that's like on the brink of winning a championship or not, and he takes you over that hump instead of wasting his talents in Toronto. But he getting paid.
I don't know about winning the championship, but the Pacers. I mean, the Pacers, they were right on the they're on the brink, right?
Absolutely. I believe that he was part of a trade from this.
Yeah, to Siakam. The Siakam.
Yep, there you go.
Deal. Yeah, he would be a great fit. Yeah, on like Dallas or something like that.
What a great fit on Dallas. Wow.
Yeah, that is for sure.
I mean, Dallas has got a nice core that it doesn't. A lot of players are going to be good fits there, but yeah, Bruce Brown in particular, for sure.
Okay, all right. Well, if y'all boys don't have nothing to add for the Denver, then we can go ahead and move on to our next buy or sell. And this one, I really need your guys' help on, because I actually don't understand why this is happening the way it's happening. But buy or sell, like, are the Bucks cooked? And for my older folks out there, cooked is like, they're done for. It's just finito, right? It's just like they're windows closed or whatever. When if there was a window, right? I guess like, because I'm honestly,
they won a title.
There you go, right? You're right, but not with Dame. They won a title with
correct.
A totally different roster. But what I want to, and the reason why I wanted to ask y'all this is because like I really don't understand. Like I don't understand why the Bucks aren't good, to be honest with you, right? Like so to answer the question, I'm sell on it. The only reason why I'm sell on it is because I don't see, I can't come up with a logical reason as to why the Bucks aren't good. Like they have Dame and Giannis. Like to me, right there, that's a high pick and roll every time down court with a whole bunch of shooters around you. Like that's almost unlimited options out of that. So I just don't understand why they're off to their worst start since 2013. They're off to a 1-4 start. The Bucks are the only team to have 4 L's by double digits or more. Doc Rivers looks like he has no control over the locker room, but I just don't understand. They have a good roster. They have a good start 2 players. But tell me, y'all, like, what is the deal with the Raptors? I mean, with the Bucks.
Take it. I got my checkbook out here. Who do I write this check to buy this?
You said
So
Tobias?
I am buying. I think the Bucks are cooked, and I'll tell you why. Number one is Dame. Like every Batman, Robin, we haven't seen the same Dame since Portland. And number one, and I think the main reason for that is injury history. And I think unfortunately, like I'm a big Dame guy, like love his story and love watching him play. But I think he's always relied on, tough shot making. And when you lose a step and when you lose a bit of that athleticism, I think that's what he's been struggling to make those, step back deep shots and create that separation that we've seen from him in the past. And I think that's a lot of the reason why Dame hasn't been the same Dame that we saw in Portland. And it's also a new role for him. Let's think about the fact that he's never been the second option, and that's what he is in Milwaukee. And I think that gets downplayed a bit too, because the effect that when plays are being drawn up and being that second option, that's been a transition for him, outside of the injuries and side of not getting the separation we've seen in the past in the offensive end. Add into the fact, who was the second? If you think about who was the biggest piece for the Bucks outside of Giannis in their championship run in 2021, Chris Middleton, and we haven't seen the same Chris Middleton. And since that championship run, he's had 2 ankle surgeries, which gets downplayed a lot. And if you're a Bucks fan and you're telling me we're counting on Chris Middleton to be coming back and making a big impact on the run, then I think you're just kind of grabbing for straws that aren't there anymore, because I don't think we're ever going to see, unfortunately, the same Chris Middleton we saw from that run, just strictly from injuries. And when you think about ankle injuries, it's not the same as knee injuries, but where does the leg start? It starts at the ankle. And once you lose mobility in your ankles, it's going to affect your knees, it's going to affect your hips. It's a chain, the body is. And unfortunately for Chris, no, Brooke Lopez isn't getting, none of that championship core is getting younger. And I don't think Gary Trent is the answer at the 2 guard spot either. So and not to mention Doc Rivers is not the answer at head coach. I was scratching my head when they brought him in and got rid of Adrian Griffin. I know there was all stuff going on in the background, but I scratched my head at Doc Rivers. I don't think he's the answer at head coach. And I think Giannis could be on the way out if things don't change. I don't know if it's at this deadline, but definitely if they don't make a run this year, he's gone. Maybe at the deadline, but if not, I think they're looking potentially in the offseason. I don't think there's a team in the league who's not going to be trying to get Giannis. So that's how I'm feeling. Sure. I'm buying. I'm buying though. Might be pessimistic, but
No, I'm with you. I'm buying as well. And I think honestly, it comes down to Chris Middleton. He's that critical piece, and he's been injured. I mean, he hasn't even played this season, right? Yeah. So that's the difficulty, because when you don't have Chris Middleton there, well, I mean, let's look at the cap situation, right? These 3 guys are tying up most of the cap space, so there's less to go around for the rest of the team. And when Chris Middleton's out, who's taking his minutes? Taurean Prince, right? So we've seen that movie before, and it's not going to it's not a recipe for success. I know this with all due respect, as Mark Jackson would say. I'm not out here trying to disrespect Torian Prince, but he's not the player. He's not giving you the same production that Chris Middleton is. So yeah, they've been on decline. They've been on the decline since pretty much the title, and it all comes down. The catalyst. I mean, I'm not gonna say the catalyst their downfall, but losing Drew Holiday, man, like that makes a huge difference. They were right at the champion before they won. They were right there before winning the championship. They needed a piece to get them over. There was a stellar defense, the gameplay, the hustle that Drew Holiday brought, and he actually gave some pretty good offensive production during that run, by the way, that championship run. But then they got put in this tough situation where it's just like the star appeal of getting Dame Lillard. Dame wants out of Portland. Portland doesn't want to trade him to the Western Conference. Giannis is getting antsy. You remember at the time, Giannis is getting antsy. Is he going to stay? Is he going to leave? What's going to happen? They want to pair him up with a co-star. So, they ship Drew off to get Dame. And yeah, you like John said, you get that Dame Giannis pick and roll, right? But at the same time, you sacrifice a lot of defense. And also the age. I mean, look, Lopez is, I think, 36. Giannis is I think he's only like 29 or 30, but Middleton is older. Dame is older, right? So it's just losing Drew. You got an older roster. It's a recipe for disaster. So I'm buying. They're cooked.
Great take, Junior. And let me say this, man. The rich got greedy because the Bucks got their championship when they brought Drew Holiday. That's what took them over the edge. But they saw the chance to get Dame. They saw the threes. They saw the splash, and they overlooked the backcourt defense, and they decided to go with Dame. And you know what, bro? It's unfortunate to say because I really like Damian Lillard, but the Bucks giving up on Drew Holiday to get Dame is exactly where they went wrong, and it's exactly where their downfall started happening, and it's exactly where they handed the Celtics a championship because they just handed the Celtics a championship by saying, "Here, Drew Holiday," and Drew Holiday, exactly what he did on the Bucks, he went and did it on the Celtics, and he won a championship. So it's unfortunate to say because I really like Dame, but man, the Bucks done like, man, that if you really think about it, y'all, like, can you imagine like the Bucks are in the East, they got the Celtics are in the East, and they basically said, "Here you go," and they basically handed him a championship.
Competitor.
Right, direct competitor, and hand him a championship. So, man, great point, Junior, and that is one thing that I've been wanting to talk about for some time. Yeah, they lost themselves. They gave themselves the L on that one.
Shot themselves in the foot on that one.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. Okay, so let's get to our last buy or sell segment. Our last buy or sell statement here, and that is buy or sell. Do you believe in the Suns? Just in general, the Phoenix Suns. Take it how you want it.
Yeah, I think from the Suns' standpoint, I believe in them in the sense that I think they can maybe push the Western Conference Finals. I'm not sold on them as a championship contender right now, currently constructed. I do believe Tyus Jones unlocks a lot for them offensively. So from that standpoint, it makes sense, and I believe in them to get farther than they did last year. I believe they were one and done last year, right? Yeah, they were out in the first round. But yeah, Tyus Jones, I think it's a huge underrated. They finally got the point guard that they were drastically and begging for last season. And because Devin Booker, he's a two guard. He's a two guard at his core. He can play the point, but having to initiate the offense, I think that took a toll from him because having to run the offense. That's why you see a lot of teams having their stars play off ball because running the offense, initiating the offense takes a toll on you mentally, and having Tyus to run things and get guys, KD looks, Royce O'Neal, even Nurkic is unlocked a little bit more, as underrated as that may sound, but they're definitely looking new. And you add in Mike Budenholzer, the designer of that Bucks championship that we were just talking about. And I think and to go back to the Bucks point, I mean, they haven't been looking the same since Bud has left Milwaukee, right? I know he was there the year after, but yeah. So to answer your question, I'm buying that they're going to be more than a first round exit. Beyond that, I don't know, but they're definitely an improved roster, an improved team from last year, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm buying that they've gotten better. I'm buying that they're a good team. I'm not buying that they're going for a title this year, though. Or I'm not buying that they're going to be in contention. I think you guys nailed it. And John, I know you've been saying this for. I mean, we can timestamp the old videos, but with the difference that Tyus Jones is going to make to the Suns, we're seeing it all unfold now. And he's really doing that. He's, like you guys said, he's allowing Booker to be the two guard that he is, and that makes all the difference. But I will say the thing that I think not necessarily holds them back, but it's the same kind of thing that we were talking about with the Bucks. The majority of the cap is tied with three players. Now, I don't know if it's if it's been said or not, but Bradley Beal's not the player he used to be, and he's not the going toe to toe with Steph Curry for scoring title. Bradley Beal, obviously, that's partially down to in Washington. He was clearly the number one option. He's not going to be that with KD and Booker on the same team. But at the same time, I feel like, I mean, we always talked about this from the inception of the pod to the very early days. Best ability. I jumped the gun there. Best availability. And, his availability has been very questionable in his entire Suns tenure so far, right? I mean, it's not even a question. It's just facts. You look at the number of games that he's missed. But the thing that's also makes it tough now is, like, let's see how available he's going to be. But even when he's available, I mean, he's going to give you 18 to 20 points a game, on average. He'll have, a couple of outlier highs, some outlier lows. But those numbers are not numbers that you should be getting from a player that's getting paid that much, right? Like that, you're paying top dollar. You need more numbers. And the thing is, he's not really going to get the opportunity to get that many numbers being the third option. So it almost would make more sense for them to use that cap space to, bolster other areas of the squad. But, I'm not going to, it's too late to make those types of speculations now. I don't think they're going to be able to move off of his contract. So, it's what they have, and the situation they have, bringing in Tyus Jones is a good addition. It's going to help the roster get better, but it's not going to put them in the championship contention, especially in this very packed Western Conference that just continues to baffle me. Like, the West has been so good for so long, and instead of teams falling off and others getting on, it's just more teams getting on. Like, there are teams that are going to miss the playoffs this year that are honestly legitimate teams that probably will be top 5 seeds in the East. I mean, the East is getting better too. The whole league is, but it's just it's baffling how competitive the Western Conference is.
Yes. No, I'm right there with both y'all. I don't know if they are a championship contender, but I'm also not writing them off as a championship contender because come playoffs, like I think we all know that the game gets different, and it becomes about a bucket. And if we talk about a bucket, there's nobody better than Kevin Durant.
Nobody's more about a bucket.
Exactly. Nobody's more about a bucket, but just being able to go because, like, players talk about this all the time. Like, playoffs is, I know what you're doing. I've been game planning your offense. We have a whole team full of analytical nerds and junkies that have been watching you all year. The same for us. Like, it's a 7-game series. We're both locked in. I know your play calls. You know my play calls. But can I still rise above that and just go get a bucket? Is better offense just going to beat good defense? And the 3 players that can do that are Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. And then we already, you guys touched on, I don't even talk about Tyus. I think Tyus is exactly what they were missing. And I not saying Nurkic is the best big in this league, but if all you're asked to do is get some rebounds and set some good picks so that D Book and Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant can get the angles to be able to go get a bucket, I don't think that's too much of an ask for him. So it comes down to matchups. I say this all the time in playoffs, man, because as a Laker faithful, I'll be 100% honest with you guys. I don't think we could beat the Suns in the 7-game series currently constructed the way our team is. We'd be relying strictly on our starting starting five, and this is after an 82 game season. So I'm gonna be honest, like I don't think the Lakers could beat them.
I don't know
The
if I
only
agree
team
with that.
you don't know if you agree with that. Okay, I
I
mean,
don't know if I agree. I mean,
what
I
makes you
think
say that?
because I think we're talking about obviously not today, but talking about the end of the
Mhm.
season, like we're hoping to count on guys being back like Jared Vanderbilt, who I think is going to be a very nice defensive piece to match up against the Suns. And honestly, you have the big three. I do think that Beal kind of took a step back. Tyus Jones is good. Nurkic, like you said, isn't the best big, but he's just relied on to set picks. But after that, who do they really have? And I feel like you can say that the Lakers, I think, are a team that doesn't match up well against the Suns, but I think in favor of the Lakers in the sense of I think AD has he's notorious for not playing against Eastern European bigs, but from what we saw in that first game, where they came back from a pretty large deficit, I know they ended up actually losing a kind of a nail biter actually earlier this week on Monday, but that first game, I think we saw the way AD can be dominant. I think LeBron is it's tough to count him out. He's getting older, and we say that every year, but it's just like you just don't know anymore. You don't know when he's going to really slow down. I think as Austin continues to develop, I think as Rui Hachimura he's gotten off to a good start. He wasn't so good last game or yesterday, but I think he's gotten off to a good start. He's playing a lot more aggressive. You're going to have guys like Christian Wood come back, who I'm not going to put all my chips on Christian Wood being the difference maker, but it's somebody that's not Jackson Hayes to really back up AD a little bit there. And I think the Lakers, as they're constructed, do match up well against the Suns. But I don't know. I don't want to go into too much of a tangent there, unless you want me to expand further.
No, I'm with you, Junior, on the fact that I would take the Lakers as both teams currently constructed in the 7-game series right now. Because I just think I'm definitely not a huge Nurkic guy, never have been. And I think AD would absolutely cook him in a 7-game series, laughably, actually. And the fact is, I haven't seen LeBron slow down personally. I don't know if you guys have seen anything to indicate he's.
I mean, I saw him not catch that lob earlier. And then you can see that he's 40, but I can't give him that.
But besides that, I like little things like that. Yeah, I might not. There's going to be some plays you see it, but in terms of we're talking the last 5 minutes, I really don't know who I'm taking over Bron and closing last 5 minutes of a quarter. So that's not changing. I don't see anyone on the Suns. KD and Booker, but outside of that, I'm not really sold on the depth. Outside of their, core four. Yeah. So, long story short, I know we don't want to get too much into details, but I still
sorry, John, I interrupted you.
No, you're good.
The Lakers in a 7-game series versus the Suns. But
absolutely.
I mean, that's going to.
I think it would be a dogfight series too.
Yeah,
it's not a like I'm not talking about the Lakers are going to sweep the Suns or anything like that. It's a dogfight 6-7 game series, and you get to a game 7, anything can happen, So it's not like they play 100 games and the Lakers win all. They play 100 series and the Lakers win all 100 series. It's not even that. But I think just best of one series. I do think I like the Lakers the way they're looking now. But that's not to say that the Suns aren't good. It's just when I say they're not championship contenders, I'm looking at like can they be the 4th or best team in the league? And I don't think they can hang with the Lakers. I don't think they can hang with the Thunder. I don't think they can hang with the Wolves. I don't know if they can hang with the Mavericks. So that's already 4 teams, right? So that's when I say what kind of makes a championship contender, right? Because at that point, you're counting on injuries, you're counting on things going. Those are all variables that can go either way. That's where I have the Suns, but continue, John. I'm sorry, I kind of cut you off. We went on a different tangent.
All good. No, all good. I mean, All
Tell me
good.
why you're buying the Suns.
Yeah, I'm buying the Suns for the fact of what we were talking about of uh playoffs. It comes about a bucket, and when you get to that about a bucket, you need someone that can just I know you know what scheme I'm running, but I'm still going to be able to just rise over you and shoot over you. And that's the Kevin Durant's, that's the Bradley Beals, that's the Devin Bookers of the world. And now, especially, Devin Booker doesn't have that responsibility of having to make for others. And the only reason why I would take the Suns over the Lakers is, and like I agree, it'd be a dogfight and it'd go down to probably a game 7 to shootout. And I think that the Lakers just have, at the end of the day, like, no true bench to rely on. Our bench guy, our number one bench guy right now is Max Christie, who's averaging 5.5 points per game. Jared Vanderbilt is absolutely unplayable come playoffs because he doesn't want to shoot. He's unless we're running in a four. I say this the same thing about Ben Simmons. Unless we're running downhill, if we have Jared Vanderbilt and we're in a half court set, we're essentially playing 4-on-5 because the defense knows he's not going to shoot. But again, this isn't a Lakers pod. If you want to get into the Lakers pod, go follow the Lakers Corner. But essentially, I just say that to say, some people may believe in the Lakers, some people may not. I mean, or some people may believe in the Suns, may not. But regardless, to say, I do believe in the Suns to be a championship. I don't know, because like how Junior said, then that's how you're going to have to contend with the OKCs of the world, the Celtics of the world, and I don't see that happening. But that's where I'm at with that. But if that's cool with you guys, we can go ahead and move forward to our last segment of the show, and that is the very fun winners and losers of the week. I'm gonna go ahead and just open up with my winners and loser of the week. Winner for me is none other than Chet Holmgren, man. Got the big dub this week against Wemby. I know that's the highly anticipated matchup everybody talks about, the two future faces of the league, Wemby and Chet. And then Chet's able to get the win, and they're still able to remain undefeated. Oklahoma City Thunder is still a great 4-0. So that is my winner of the week. Shout out Chet for doing his thing. And my loser of the week is, unfortunately, the team in the Big Bayou, man, the Pelicans. Check this out, y'all. Their injury report: Herb Jones out, CJ McCollum out, DeJounte Murray out, Trey Murphy out. Those are like 4 of their like key players that they were relying on. And you never know, Zion Williamson could walk downstairs and be out. So you never know with that, man. So loser of the week for me, Pelicans. Jay, or Jay Hill, or who wants to go?
Go ahead, Jay Hill.
Yeah, those are some good losers and winners of the week. For me, I'm gonna go with losers. The losers are the Milwaukee Bucks. I know we talked about them earlier. 1-4 start, absolutely awful start for them. I think that they still got Doc Rivers in the coaching seat. I mean, he could be gone before we know it if they continue to struggle. But definitely an awful week. Awful week for them. Awful start to the season. And then the winners of the week have to be the Cleveland Cavaliers, 6-0 start. I think they're looking like the best team outside of the Celtics in the league right now. Honestly, outside the Celtics and the Thunder, I don't think you could have written a better start to your coaching career or coaching time if you're Kenny Atkinson and Cleveland. So they're things are only looking up for the Cavs. So those are my winners and losers.
I had the same winner. I had the Cavaliers as well. I think they're really stamping themselves as that that next powerhouse in the East. And I already beat this to death on this episode, so I'll just say it one more time. But I do think the Celtics have a big gap at the top. But all it takes is an injury or something, and then the Cavs are right next up, I think. And I think that they're really stamping themselves as that that second team in the East, and all you got to do, you can't control how good the Celtics are. You can just control how good you are, and they're just taking care of business. I've been impressed by them. We always saw this coming, but I didn't expect this team to, I guess, already be developing this fast for sure. And I thought maybe this season, towards the end of the season, we would see, an elongated run from the Cavs. It came a little bit earlier, and it's still going. Like Jay Hill said, they're 6-0. It's tough to argue with that, right? So I have them as my winner. And I had my loser of the week. I also had the Pelicans just because their injury troubles, specifically DeJounte Murray. I mean, he was a hot name in the free agent market and ended up with with a fractured hand. That's a tough injury in any sense, but especially in basketball. That he's going to be out now for a while, and that hurts them a lot. And another loser that I had was also the Magic, specifically for the reasons that we were talking about earlier. All this momentum, all this, they're right there, right, ready to, at the cusp of getting to the next step. And now they have a blow where they're going to be without their best player. I mean, easily at least 2 months. So we're talking about the new year, and then it's just like, the new year, you blink, it's January, you blink, it's March, and you're fighting for the last possible, playoff spots at that point. And at that point, it could even be too late, right? Depending on the trajectory of the team. So a very critical period for the Magic coming up. Critical in a negative sense where, it's just like, it's an uphill battle. And if things go wrong, it could be it could be a Magic season similar to what we've seen in the past. And I think, sure all Magic fans are tired of seeing that, and I think that it's going to be, like I said, Franz Wagner's time to step up, and we'll see how he responds, and how the Magic respond. Part of being a good team is having to face some adversity, and facing some big challenges. So we're going to see how they respond and really stamp themselves as that team that's next up now.
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir. Well, for everybody out there, man, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. The week 2 NBA recap, got into a whole lot, man. Did buy or sell segment, talked about some news around the league. And then we did finish with some winners or losers. So for anybody out there, man, I hope you guys have been enjoying the NBA season so far. Appreciate all the love and support on the channel. If you guys want to stay up to date with everything Jay Hill and Junior's got going on, I'll have their social medias linked below. Of course, you always find our social medias linked below. Get at us, and for now, man, just go enjoy some good hoops. Hope everybody has a great Sunday, because y'all probably hear this on Sunday. And for now, we out of here, y'all. Deuces.
Peace.